homework review. So, math homework. I'm going to blaze through this. Vertical and horizontal asymptotes. So vertical asymptotes are basically divide by 0, and horizontal asymptotes are my x over my x value. Those coefficients, okay? So for vertical asymptote, what would make my denominator 0? 2 minus 2 equals 0, so that would be 2. Horizontal asymptote. What's the coefficient of my x in the numerator? I don't have one, so that's 0. Over what's the coefficient here? 1. 1x. So 0 over 1 gives me 0. There's my horizontal asymptote. For this problem, vertical asymptote. What would make my denominator 0? Well, 0. What would be my horizontal asymptote? Well, what's my coefficient here? 1. What's my coefficient here? 1. So that's 1 over 1 equals 1. Vertical asymptote here. 2 times what plus 2 would give me 0. Okay, these give me a little tripped out, so I'm going to write equals 0. So 2x plus 2 equals 0. I'd subtract 2 from both sides, so I end up with 2x equals negative 2. Divide both sides by 2. Negative 2 divided by 2 would give me negative 1. So my vertical asymptote is negative 1. My horizontal asymptote would be written as, what's my coefficient of x up here? 3. What's the coefficient of x down here? 2. Well, that works for me. 3 over 2. Over here, my vertical asymptote. 3 times what minus 3 gives me 0. Again, for the more complicated ones, I'd recommend writing it out. 3x minus 3 equals 0. Add 3 to both sides, I get 3x equals 3. Both sides divided by 3. 3 over 3 gives me 1. So my horizontal asymptote, my vertical asymptote here is 1. Now my horizontal asymptote, what's the coefficient of x in the top? 18. What's my coefficient of x in the bottom? 3. What's 18 divided by 3? 6. So my horizontal asymptote is 6. For number 5, this was more of a comprehension question than it was a hard one. So I wanted you to look and try to figure out what the vertical asymptote, that vertical line, and the horizontal asymptote were just by looking at the graph. So if I look at where is it never touching on a vertical line? It's like right there. And where's that line? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's at 5. So my vertical asymptote is at 5. Now where is it never touching horizontally? Oh, right there. That's at 1. There's the math homework. Chemistry homework. So, I asked you. All right, and for chemistry homework, ignore the mess here. I was being a silly head. Okay. So for number 1, the concentration of hydroxide ions, right? OH minus ions in a mild acid is 7.76 times 10 to the negative 6 moles per liters. What's the concentration of hydronium ions? So I'm looking for H3O, and I know my OH. So my equation, KEQ equals H3O plus times OH minus. I know this one. So my KEQ, my concentration, equals H3O plus times 7.76 times 10 to the negative 6th. What am I solving for? H3O. So to get H3O by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by that. I'm not going to rewrite it. So I end up with H3O plus equals my KEQ over 7.76 times 10 to the negative 6th. What is my KEQ? Well, if we look at our notes from yesterday, which I should have right here, where are they? If we look at our notes, oh, they're literally right here. If we look at our notes from yesterday, what is KEQ? 1.0 times 10 to the negative 14th. So I'm just going to plug that number in. So that gives me 1.0 times 10 to the negative 14th divided by 7.76 times 10 to the negative 6th. So what happens when I plug these numbers into the calculator? I don't know. It's a mystery to me too. So, um, so that should give you 1.29 times 10 to the um, hang on. This does take a while to type into your calculator, especially given that my calculator right now is literally a phone. Times, you can see how I'm typing this in. Divided by 7.76. Oh, I'm sorry. 10 raised to the, what is it, negative 6? Raised to the negative 6 power. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10 to the negative 8th power. Okay. Given that I just had to use my cell phone, my answer might look different than you for this. And I apologize for that. But we should be on the same page. Next problem. Ignore this. The concentration of hydronium ions in a mild acid is 3.32 times 10 to the negative 8th moles per liter. What's the concentration of hydroxide ions? Okay, so I know my hydronium and I don't know my hydroxide. So let's set this up like we did before. KEQ equals H3O plus times OH minus. Okay, what's my KEQ? 1.0 times 10 to the negative 14 equals, I'm looking for OH, and I have my hydronium. So 3.32 times 10 to the negative 8th moles per liter times OH. How do I get OH by itself? I divide both sides by that. So these cancel out, and I end up, my answer is going to be 1.0 times 10 to the negative 14th divided by 3.32 times 10 to the negative 8th moles per liter. Now, to spare you from having to sit through my calculator, slow typing in, I'm going to jump cut to when I get the answer. And my answer ends up being 3.01 times 10 to the negative 7th.